So I thought I would do a video on epoxying vanities, tabletops, cabinet, countertops. There's a lot of videos out there about it. Of course, it's all got professionals doing it. They make it look extremely easy. And it's really not that bad. On this particular piece, I did not cut down the 2x6s. I didn't run them through a planer. I just pocket screwed them together and sanded down the real bad spots with just a random orbital sander, and then just taped up where the seams were. So that way you wouldn't have any leakage through there or runoff. And your best friend is definitely going to be a blowtorch. It's like that bubble right there. If you just hit it, gone. See? And the bubbles seem to be forming mostly in the cracks, which I'm sure if it was, if you put these through a table saw and cut a 1/2 inch off the sides, squared them up, planed them out, you probably wouldn't have that issue. I will say the most important part of this whole ordeal is temperature inside and mixing. Those are your two biggest things. So you also are gonna definitely need to get one of these, because it's what tells you what the epoxy's doing. So right now we're at 96 because it is curing, and so it's gonna heat up. And what I did on this one is and you can see the temperature inside. It's about 81.5 is what I've got it at. So, of course it's going to change. You go down to metal and it's down further, but as far as where we're at, it's about 80 degrees, which is where they say to keep it for the Pro Marine, which is the epoxy I went with. Let me think. What else? Yeah, mixing is a humongous deal. Make sure to pour it into different containers when you're measuring it out. I mean, that's just from all those buckets are just from a base coat I did on this, which was 1/4 of a gallon. And this is a 2x5, 2 foot by 5 foot. And then a flood coat that was 3/4 of a gallon. And honestly, I mean, if you ask me, the flood coat at 3/4 of a gallon on a 2x5 was quite excessive. There was quite a bit of runoff. There's pretty big puddles down here of epoxy. And what I just used one of these little rollers. And it works good. And what I did on this, on my flood coat, I mixed it for about 10 minutes and monitored the temperature of the epoxy the whole time until it reached 93 degrees, which is one of their tips they say on the Pro Marine website, if you want a harder, more scratch resistant surface. So you let that epoxy heat up a little bit and it will cure a little harder. So I'm pretty impressed with the results. I mean, I was stressing because I've got 19.5 feet worth of countertop to do. 19.5 foot by 26, and it's going to take 5 gallons. And so for one person, that might be a little too much to try to handle. I've got another piece. This piece right here is for a little kitchen island. It's got a backsplash, and what I'm gonna have to do is take that backsplash off and do it separately, and then once everything cures, screw it back together. And that's just flamed and stained, and that's it. And and I went back over these with a torch. Stain dry has been drying for like a week, and I went back over it with a torch to make sure I had burnt off any stain that was still left as far as the oil part goes, because Pro Marine says not to use an oil-based stain on this, and I'd already stained them, so it is what it is. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking, and if it completely cures, which it should, as much as I mixed it, it should be perfect. So yeah, pretty happy about that. I'll do some more videos on this on the other pieces over there. Yeah, floor's a mess. I've got floors going in a couple of weeks anyway, so that's why I decided to do it right now. That way, if anything did happen to get on the floors, it was not going to be a humongous deal. So that's my little advice and take on Pro Marine epoxy.